My name is Patsy Buke. I am the lead nurse at the Student Health Center here on campus at Geneseo. Um, I've been a nurse for 35 years, and my husband is a type 1 diabetic, so I have kind of both views. At its basic level, diabetes is the body's inability to produce enough insulin to deal with the sugars you consume. Carbohydrates turn into sugars, as well as um, regular sugars you put in your body, and having too much or too little sugar is problematic. The difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes is your body's ability to produce insulin. Insulin is produced in your pancreas. In type 1 diabetes, your body does not have the ability to produce any insulin. In type 2 diabetes, your pancreas can be kind of pushed by certain medications to produce enough insulin for your body. People who have type 1 diabetes need to be very careful on what they eat and how they use insulin. Um, Modern medicine has developed insulin pumps and bioreaders that will tell them what their sugar is. They're connected, and the insulin pump can give more insulin or less insulin. People with type 1 diabetes normally are told to what's called carb count, meaning they look at a meal and decide the number of carbohydrates in it, and then bolus the amount of insulin for the amount of carbohydrates. And that amount differs from person to person. Most people that have a pump have something called a basal rate, and so it's running insulin into their body all the time. People who don't have a pump and spot check their glucose give themselves insulin, both long-acting and short-acting, according to what their needs are. My husband is diabetic. He's been diabetic since he was 14 years old. A common finding, especially in teenage years, for people being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes is that they've recently had some kind of an infection, and somehow that kills what's called the islets of Langerhorn in their pancreas. My husband was admitted to the hospital with a blood sugar of 840, which is very high, and it's something called diabetic ketoacidosis. And in treating that, you have to bring it down slowly, because if you bring it down quickly, it can cause problems. For years, my husband carried around insulin with him, but he's worn a pump now for more than 40 years since they first came out, and he's very comfortable with the technology of it. There are occasions that he does have to still poke his finger the old school way and check his sugar and put it into the pump itself so that it gives him what he needs, but he's become very good at it. I think it's a skill that diabetics develop, and it just becomes part of their life, dealing with how their sugars go. So, especially type 1 diabetes, once you're diagnosed, is a lifelong problem. I have a friend who has a 6-year-old grandson who's recently been diagnosed, and the mom and the school nurse and the teacher really need to work carefully on, what he's eating and what his sugars are doing. It's a struggle when it goes high, because you can be terribly hungry and not be able to eat anything, and it's a struggle when it goes low. My husband gets goofy and argumentative when his sugar gets low, and for different people, it's different. For people who aren't diabetic, if their sugar is lower than 60, they probably feel terrible. For people who are diabetic, it can be anywhere from 60 to 40 or wherever they start to feel bad. And very often they don't notice it. So in Steel Magnolias, Shelby's a type 1 diabetic, among a group of people that aren't. And so the struggles of letting people know and making sure they don't treat you differently because of it can be challenging. But Shelby is a pretty strong woman, and she handles it well.
Hi, my name is Peg McCormick. I grew up in Henrietta, which is about 45 minutes away from here. I am 66 years old, and I've been doing this job, hair cutting, since 80, long time. I have 6 siblings, and almost everybody, including my father, were in education, so I came down to Geneseo way back then to start classes to become a teacher. My father was the superintendent of BOCES 1, which is, I think everybody must know what that is, or assume, yeah, okay. And so we all kind of took something there, and I did hairdressing. I got my license by the time I graduated from high school. So when I came here and going to school, I had a little too much fun, plus I found a part-time job. Absolutely loved cutting hair, and I've never looked back for a second. I every day I wake up thinking I love my job. I might not want to get out of bed, but I love my job. Never upset, love my job. Very lucky person. As far as people trusting me, I have a large clientele that I've been doing for like 30 years, and I used to do a lot of students, but I'm too old for them now. But I did happen this particular year to start doing some guys on the track team, and they all told each other about me, and they're all great. Maybe because other people told them to come here, but they trust me and they let me do whatever I want, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a long time since somebody's come in and said, do what you want, I don't care. And the kids are very sweet, and pause. As far as making people feel better about themselves, I'm definitely experiencing that now, because a lot of my customers are in their 80s and even 90s. And them just getting out of the house for the day and doing their hair is like Christmas Day for them. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of the same people for a long time, and these people are absolute friends. If they have an emergency and need me, if it's more of a family. Yeah, as far as talking, as you can see, this isn't that hard for me to do because I talk a lot. And I do have some people that I know haven't come back to me because I actually probably talk too much. I'm a very talky outward person, and silence scares me. Doesn't scare me, but I don't like silence. So I do talk a lot, and I'm sure I have lost customers because they left and said, like my haircut, but you never shut up for a second. Yeah. When I graduated from high school, like I said, I came down here to go to school, and I moved down with 4 of my best friends to the lake. And oh my God, I panicked.
You're good.
And friends. So when I moved down here, it took a long time. Even though I was the same age as the college kids, I was a working person and they weren't. So they treated me a little differently. It wasn't real easy to get to know people. But doing this job, people keep saying I should run for mayor. So, if that's any indicator. Oh, I've had everything from people falling in here that are quite aged, and that's been scary. Right now I'm going through a lot more because I know I'm going to be holding some people's hands while they meet their maker, because like I said, a lot of my clients are now in their 80s and 90s. But I also have made friends in here who I literally held their hands while they passed away. So the friendships that I've made in here, the best and beautiful, and it's a great town. Recommend it to anybody. Steel Magnolias, wonderful movie. Sally Field, tops. As far as the character, I can't think of her name. She slept with John Kennedy Jr., so I liked her. But I can't think of her name. You can. And her character is a hair salon or a hair person. Oh, and Dolly. Dolly was pretty real. I mean, that's how it works. You work in a small town, you do become close to people like that. I think that other actress, that other role was just kind of thrown in there for more humor and a whole nother kind of storyline that they could split off. Dolly, yes. Can't remember her name now. Like I said, living in this small town is incredible, and I know that you students are going to get to spend a lot of time here in your life, but believe me, it's the most fun you've ever had. And thank God I landed in this job like I have. It's nobody else. I touch people all day physically. I mentally touch people. They touch me, and it's just I'm so fortunate to have a job that I can say I love.
Brand new.
I feel disappointed because it's not usually what I want. I feel refreshed. I feel new.
It's amazing. I love it when they shorten up my hair and I feel fresh.
I always feel like a brand new woman.
I don't always love how they style it at the salon, but I'm always really confident that once I do it the way I like it, that it's gonna look good.
I feel renewed and like a new person.
I feel like confident,
Healthy.
fabulous,
Reinvented.
Refreshed. New.